Testing, testing. Hey, who wants a 13-person race at Russia? Raise your hand now.
Could at least do with one more, but I don't think that we could do Russian roulette without really risking reliability issues.
Yeah, that's fair enough, but reliability issues might be the only thing that can make this track layout interesting. You know, someone just parks their car on the blind turn 4, and it's just fun from there.
Or we could get caught
That would
squeezing
be
it four wide in turn one and everyone trying to shoot for the inside line. Fun times.
Yeah, easy. Okay, let's see. The viewers are funneling in now by the dozens, I'm sure. But it is the start of the qualifying session, and I will start my spiel about this race and stream in just a moment after I get my gizmos up, because those are totally necessary.
Yes, very much necessaries.
Okay, and we're actually going to do stuff in 3, 2, 1. Welcome, everybody, to Breakout Racing League today. We've got Xbox Tier 5 after a one-week Thanksgiving break. Our main F1 tiers are back, starting with this Tier 5 on Friday night, as usual. And it looks like that's Haas going out early. Yep. BRL Butters. We've only got a 13-car grid here today, unfortunately, because there are just some people who refused to race on the Sochi Autodrome, thinking they would better spend their time eating nails for breakfast without milk.
That's one way to put it. Sochi definitely gives you an interesting feel on the track, lots of corner cuts, but a lot of fast sweeping turns. You can nail a lap around here and be very quick, but you also have a lot of room for mistakes, and sometimes it's better, sometimes it's worse.
There's a certain rhythm to this track that seems to come out, especially in league racing. But we got round 17 today at the Sochi Autodrome, and it is very much an interesting affair. Only 13 cars on the grid, as I said, and as you can see on the left-hand side of your screen. But we've still got a decent selection here. Both Haas's are out in force with BRL Butters and MRL Mike 88, as well as the Alfa Romeo of entered Caesar, the Racing Point of Slingshot, Wavy's Renault, Mary Jane's Alpha Tauri, and both McLarens and both Red Bulls, which is nice to see. But yeah, we're missing a lot of drivers, unfortunately. We've got no full-time drivers in Tier 5 right now, but some of them either just had other things going on or, you know, it's Russia. It's the Sochi Autodrome, perhaps the least popular track ever to be put on the F1 calendar. But either way, we're going to do a walkthrough of it here on board with BRL Butters, who's going to be the first to start a flying lap in this qualifying session. Coming off the final corner, we'll come back to that one at the end of the lap. A very early start line on the straight, right at the beginning, so it's important to get a good exit to scoop up all the time you can. Here, this is the actual turn 1, just a subtle right-hand kick. You want to hug it as much as you can. And now into the first heavy braking zone and overtaking opportunity on the track. Turn 2, decent corner, 4th gear, power out onto the turn 4, the defining feature of this track. The only really hair-raising part of it for many of these drivers. Turn 5, 4th gear, pretty short braking zone. Pretty short braking zones in these two corners, turns 5 and 6, so not too much of an overtaking opportunity there. Maybe into turn 7 if you're feeling ambitious, because it is a bit of a tighter corner, but I doubt we'll see too much of that in the race. Now 9 complex, and into another subtle mid-speed 4th gear corner. How could we have predicted that? But now onto the back straight. DRS, this is the best part of the lap to get an overtake done other than the front stretch. And if you're really desperate, you can even try it into this crazy braking zone for turn number 11. Purple middle sector, of course, for Butters, because he's the only one to have set a Sector 2 lap time so far. Yellow flags in Sector 3 for no reason, just ignore those. This is the only elevation change you'll get on the track, just very subtle in those two turns, the left and right. And then to round it off, a couple of rectangular turns, 90-degree right-handers. To be fair, they're pretty slow and difficult to get the traction down. But looks like Butters did okay there, and he's got a 132.201 to show for it in terms of lap time. Who's coming across the line next? It'll be Ron Swanson in the McLaren, 133.7, but that's on the medium tire, which is slower performance-wise, so we'll give him the benefit of the doubt on that one. MRL Mike goes up to P2, but 7/10 behind his teammate. And AlphaTauri is finishing a lap. That was Mary Jane. They must have been validated early on. It's me, Avi, just starting a lap in the second McLaren. Entered Caesar. Ooh, he's invalidated his lap already. Yeah, there are quite a few. Looks like he's lost a part of his front wing, too. You see on this next camera angle. Oh, no, yeah, he hasn't, actually. Never mind.
Yeah, invalidations will definitely be something that will happen a lot around this track. You really want to push the car because you have the room on the outside and inside the track on certain turns. Really can kind of push the issue, per se, and if you watch a little bit too far out, the track limits here are absolutely brutal. You make any slight infringement, that's your lap time gone, so you really got to crack on and get through these track as fast as you can, but you also got to be smart and not push it too hard.
Yeah, the absolute overabundance of mid-speed corners that all look the same and feel the same means there is going to be a lot of opportunities to track extend, but it looks like Caesar is fending them off for now. He is pushing, so I'm guessing Caesar is doing a second lap in a row here on the same fuel load and set of soft tires. Sprightly is in the chat now. Undercut is awesome here. Yeah, I have heard that worn tires aren't your friend at this track, again, with all of its high-load, mid-speed corners. Purple middle sector for entered Caesar. He hasn't invalidated his time yet, so things looking good. A little deep there in turn 10, but sorting it out nicely. Ooh, a bit of oversteer off of 11. Again, sorting it out nicely for 12 and 13. It looks like he's running a really low downforce setup, or perhaps experimenting with the assists. Tier 5 is a great place to experiment with the assists. You see a lot of guys here just starting out when they turn traction control off or ABS off. You can see Caesar actually locking up at the final corner there. And he sets the fastest lap of the session. It's a 1:32.1. That's an impressive performance, certainly, for the man who's currently 8th in the championship. But really the only reason he's in Caesar so far down is because he didn't join us until race number 11 back at Silverstone. He has had a podium. He got a podium in his debut, actually, and then won at Monza 3 weeks ago.
And Zach the Beast actually just tops the leaderboards. He also went full purple throughout his lap with a 1:31.898. He can probably get a little bit more out of the soft tires, though.
Zach the Beast, the championship leader, he's really been the dominant one. I think Caesar's fast. Zach currently has 227 points in the Drivers' Championship. That is, if just doing a bit of quick math here, 72 points more than Bad Hunt House in second place in the Red Bull, and he's gotten on the podium in every race he's entered so far, except for Monza. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. He's never finished lower than 4th in a Tier 5 race. I'd say promotion to Tier 4 is just about inevitable as long as he meets the assist requirements for next season. Not sure what he's running, but it's probably the standard for this level of racing. Medium traction control, ABS on. No obtrusive things like braking assist, but definitely the racing line helps a lot of these guys. Yeah, Tier 5 is generally the chillest tier in BRL, but it still has a healthy lineup of people who could get promoted to higher tiers in the near future. Of course, I mentioned Zach, Caesar as well. His performances have certainly been quite decent. Bad Hunt House as well. He's been very consistent. He's finished in the points in every race in which he has competed so far. Yeah, and that record includes 3 podiums and a win.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Back at Austria. Go ahead.
I say, unfortunately, Bad Hunt House just gets struck with a lot of bad luck from time to time. He can be up near the front or even in a podium position, but then just slight mistakes or even contact from other drivers who've just seen him fondle all the way down to the order. Really could have had a lot more higher place finishes this season, just got caught up in a little bit of accidents or stuff that really he wasn't even supposed to be part of. But so far...
Yeah, that's bound to happen in Tier 5 as, Books really takes a lot of turn 13 there and validates his lap. The only other car in a fly right now is Slingshot in the Racing Point, one of 4 cars yet to set a flying lap time so far. Of course, there is some strategy, pit-wise, involved in qualifying. If you qualify on the medium compound tire, and your fastest lap is on the medium, and you manage to qualify in the top 10, then you will get to start on the mediums for the race, which is a huge advantage because everyone has to start in the top 10 has to start the race on the exact same set of tires that they did their fastest lap on. So some of these guys, Zach, Caesar, Butters, they're going to be strong off the line. They're going to have track position, sure, but their tires are going to wear out more quickly. Although Russia, it is a fairly low-wear circuit, I've got to say, so I'm not sure if it's really worth it to go for the medium gamble here, since the soft to hard is quite easy. You can take the softs, decent 7 or 8 laps into the race, out of the 27 total in this race, and then just pop on the hards and go to the end. Of course, the tire compounds here are the softest range. The C3 is the hard, the C4 is the medium, and the C5 as the soft. The C5 really only comes out at these super low abrasion tracks like Russia and Monaco and Canada as well, among others.
Yeah, one thing I do see a lot here in Tier 5, though, just from being here quite a bit, is the medium tire is a decent choice for a few competitors here, but normally if there's an early caution or a safety car, almost 3/4, if not the whole field, is going to go straight to the hard tire compound and just try and last it till the end. You do have the select few that do go to the softs, like Zach, Caesar, near the end of the stint, but most of the time you'll just see them pop them on and run till the end.
Yeah, safety cars are certainly something to keep track of in Tier 5, where incidents are more known to happen sometimes. I should just put that out there, because a lot of these guys have just got into grips with their league racing careers, as Slingshot takes a very eccentric line into the pit lane. It's Miyabi now on a flying lap in the McLaren, but he's pretty early on in that one, so we'll jump to Gas Smokin', who's already invalidated his. Looks like he might be on an... No, he's definitely not on an in lap. He's just backed off. Bad Hunt House as well. Oh, he's coming into the pit lane. MRL Mike just starting a lap. Kai Wildey. Ooh, Kai Wildey's coming up to the penultimate corner. It's on the softs now, so Kai is abandoning the medium gamble, as I expect most of these guys to do. Only Mary Jane still has their best lap of mediums, and he goes P1. Kai, well done.
Yep, and right behind Kai, you have BRL Butters, who ended up sneaking back up into the top spot with a 131.8, beating out Zach the Beast. Probably look for Beast and Ron Swanson to make another run for the top spots. Even Caesar and Bad Hunt House will probably give it another shot.
Yeah, very nice. Funny thing here, this is a pretty low attendance race. Unfortunately, as I mentioned, because of the pretty terrible track and just because people have obligations during the holidays. But it's interesting to note that It's Miyabi has actually showed up to the race in the McLaren, because he has not actually attended a race since Austria, where he finished 13th. So it'll be interesting to see how he might have practiced or improved during his time away from the league, and see if he can make more of an impression on the standings than he has so far. His highest finish has been 11th at Spain. So he'll be looking to get his first points today, but Kai does not have to worry about that at all. This is actually only his second race in the tier, but last time out he got a podium at Singapore, second place. So he's certainly one to watch within the tier as well. A real up-and-comer, a latecomer certainly. It's rare to have people coming into tiers with just a few races left to go, but still very nice to see more competition on the grid.
Well, and also it comes with some benefits as well. You come in with the last few races on it, so you're not really having to worry about going for the championship. You can really just go for wins or just go for experience, really getting in the lap time.
Yeah, you can just show people what you've got without having to worry about a bigger picture, because there really is none. In this case, Books is on a valid flying lap. Can't say that for anyone else at the moment, so we'll watch him thunder down the back straightaway. He's on the medium compound tire, so the medium gamble is still being tried by some. At least purple middle sector for Books. But you gotta wonder, can he keep that momentum on a tire that's just inherently not as good with all-out pace? Ooh, taking a bit too much curb in turn 12. That's going to scrub a lot of speed off. Same with the next corner. That was a really scruffy couple of corners there. Coming into the penultimate turn, turn 14. Very nice line through there. Ooh, not having too much apex speed off the final corner, and he goes down to 8th. 133.3. Still a respectable time, but could have been much better. That was a really scruffy last set of turns.
Yeah, if he can clean up
Jane in the AlphaTauri. Sorry.
No worries. If he can clean up that last sector, more than likely he can find his way up into the top 5 easily. And just to reiterate, like where you talked about the final turn, how he could have cleaned up that exit just a little bit more. I think if he tucked a little bit closer to the inside, he'd take a little bit more out of that final turn, really kind of slingshot himself out of there, probably got another second down on his time. As we got in retirement.
Retirement. Looks like Bad Hunt House is happy with his time, because has he retired in the pits? It looks like his car is stationary off the final corner, but not in the pit lane. We'll run on board with gas smoking to see if we can get there before his car despawns. That looks like a weird one. I'm not sure if he's actually in the pits or not. Oh, now he is. It's showing him as... Okay. Yeah, it looks like he might have retired in the pits, having been happy with his lap time. That is something that tends to happen during these qualifying sessions. There's only about 3 or so minutes left anyway, so not too much time to improve, although anyone in the pits now can go out for another run. They do have the time, if they so choose, but sometimes it's just smarter to save tires for the race. And, ooh, Caesar. Caesar's off on his outlap, no less. Yellow flags in the middle sector. He's just stopped. Not sure what's going on there. Is he missing part of his front wing on the left side? I really can't see.
I can't tell either. I think he's just letting drivers go around him so that way you can have open track. Not have to worry about
that may be the case.
else.
Oh, but he's come on just ahead of... Or Slingshot, sorry. Or at least the guy in the jet. My bad. I'm a bit tired. But anyway. Slingshot, meanwhile, going off the track in the background. That might be an invalidation. Yes, it is. But that might be an in-lap anyway. He was going pretty slowly when he first encountered Caesar. Avi, meanwhile, man who has not made an appearance in quite a while. Still has to set a flying lap time. He's on an outlap right now. We'll catch back up with him soon. But gas smoking. Now heading through the final sector in his Red Bull RB16 as Slingshot is just retired on track.
I think he may have clipped the inside wall and ended up ripping the left front wheel off. I caught just the last little bit of it. Unfortunate circumstance for Slingshot was really pushing the car, just unfortunately pushing just a little bit too much.
Oh, I see. Yeah, turn. Gosh darn it, what turn is it anyway? Turn 10, I believe, is the one before the back straight. That can be a tricky one when it comes to oversteer. But no, his car's still limping down the back straightaway. So it's operational enough to move. Shouldn't be retiring on track like that. That is in breach of league rules. Yeah, it's an interesting thing about Tier 5. It is very unique in that it is a bit of a revolving door tier in cases, but that is by design because this tier is just for people who are dipping their toes into the world of F1 league racing. And not everyone likes it. Not everyone really latches onto it in the same way that someone like myself has or Zach the Beast has. Only 7 of the 19 drivers currently signed up for Tier 5 have been here since the very start of the season. Or sorry, make that 8. I forgot about Henchman.
Yeah, you definitely see a revolving door. Sorry.
And yes, my mic is being a dumb. And for Mary Jane and Kai, as I mentioned Kai earlier, but not Mary Jane, both of them have their second races here today since joining at Singapore. Mike has retired as well. That looks like it's in the pit lane. So he's happy with what he's been able to achieve in the Haas. Demir Ozdemir is in the chat asking, is it game? Yes, we are using the F1 2020 game on the Xbox One for this. Unfortunately, it's still not a cross-platform game, even though crossplay was rumored to be in this game during the lead-up to it in the spring. Unfortunately, Codemasters still insists on tweaking the game's physics engine to suit each platform better somehow. I'm not sure exactly how. And I think that's what's preventing them from actually embracing crossplay on the game. Ooh, Ron Swanson goes a bit wide, actually. That was pretty wide at the exit of turn 6, but he just gets away with it. He'll continue his lap now. Is this... Oh, no, this isn't a push lap. He's surrendered control to his AI, it would appear. So I'm not sure if we actually have any more flying laps going on. Maybe Kai. Oh, yes, Kai's pushing. Purple middle sector. Hold on a minute. Let's hold on a minute and take a look at what this Ferrari can do, because a purple middle sector is a surefire sign of either a very good or a very terrible lap. Seems like there's no real in-between with that. Ooh, that's the smoothest I've seen anyone take 12 and 13 this session so far, although to be fair, I haven't been jumping around the onboards as much. Off the final corner, it's looking good. 131.4, that is pole position for Kai Wiley. Well done. Absolutely excellent lap. And he will start P1, not settling for anything less, although he is going to be starting on slightly more worn soft tires compared to guys behind like Butters, Swanson, Caesar, etc. And everyone has now set a time in the session. Avi going to be starting 11th in his first race back. So not too bad for him. Jop Racing 77 says, watch Tier 1 and 2 plebs wreck each other in F2 cars. Ah, yes. Yeah, some BRL drivers are creating an unofficial F2 league where only the most OP drivers are invited. And Phantom. Yeah, Phantom's there as well, because Phantom just has to be there amongst all the best drivers in any BRL-related event.
Sorry, my mic cut out right there for a quick second. But yeah,
no problem. And Zach the Beast AI has just absolutely smashed into Butters's. Not sure why, but thankfully that'll have no bearing on the race or the qualifying results. Session is over. We're just waiting for the clock to tick down, or alternatively, Avi could just retire right now because he's the only one that the game has not registered as done. Either way, we can wait. So, going over the starting grid, Kai Wildy is your pole sitter, as you can see, with quite an excellent lap time, 131.445. Followed by Zach the Beast in the Williams, your championship leader at the moment. BRL Butters in third, followed by Swanson, Caesar, Wavy rounding out the top six. Then Mary Jane and Bad Hunt House making up the fourth row. And MRL Mike 88 and Books rounding out the top 10. Behind them, it's Me, Avi, Slingshot, and unfortunately, I missed that last. Gas Smokin', sorry. Gas Smokin' is last with a 133.9. Oh, and actually, Ron Swanson does have a grid penalty. 5 places. I'm not sure when that happened. We missed it when it popped up on the bottom of our screens. So he'll be starting 9th instead of 4th, and it's an early Christmas, I suppose, for Caesar, Wabby, Mary Jane, Bad Hunt, and Mike. Although I'm sure Books would like a little bit more track position. The medium gamble, of course, he's done it. He's qualified in the top 10 on mediums, but he's only 10th. So it's only a net gain of 1 position, and he'll be starting on more worn tires than he would be if he was in 11th. So overall, not too big of a success for Books, but regardless, he still has a decent chance in the race. He can still go further into the race than the soft runners, which means he can have fresher tires towards the end. We're up to 19 viewers right now. That's a pretty good haul for just the end of a qualifying session. And none of you go anywhere. Refer your friends. Share a link to the stream and all your Discord servers and other social things, because the race is just now getting started.
It looks like someone has already hit A, as the countdown timer has already started.
Yep. Oh, and we're on the grid now. The drivers will be using this time to get their setups dialed in. They can still make a few tweaks to their setups on the front end of their cars, although some of these guys still use preset setups. And getting their strategies dialed in, fuel loads. Fuel load is a crucial thing because, of course, if you overfuel your car, you'll be able to run in rich mix a lot more and save fuel quite a lot less. But at the same time, you're going to have a heavier car that doesn't handle quite as well compared to your rivals. And then if you underfuel it, you got to manage fuel and can't really use rich mix, but you will be somewhat mildly better in the corners. So we're going to bring up all the doodads again. As for people outside the top 10, Avi's elected to start on the soft compound tire, as has Slingshot. So they'll get that extra launch off the line. They're just going with the standard strategy, nothing special. They're confident in their ability to make up a couple of positions and score points. Gas Smokin', on the other hand, starting on the medium tire, just like Books is in P10. So he'll be one to watch maybe towards the end of the race, along with Books. And maybe they'll make a splash. Little update on the championship where those two stand. Books is currently 11th. He's had 6 points finishes during his time in Tier 5, but no podiums. And funnily enough, he's scored points in every race he's finished because he has quite a few retirements from Zandvoort, Spain, Hungary, Spa, and Monza. Although, to be fair, those are very atrocious tracks in this game, especially when the standards of driving are slightly less advanced than in higher tiers, to put it diplomatically. Gas Smokin', Gas Smokin' isn't actually on the driver's table, so we're going to have to fix that sometime. Oh, he's in. No, I see him now. Gas Smokin' so far has managed 7th in the Drivers' Championship with 62 points, but only 1 ahead of entered Caesar. So he'll be looking to carve his way through the field and prevent that position change from happening for 7th overall. So far, Gas Smokin' has had a pretty consistent season. He's scored points in most of the races that he's entered, but No podiums for him yet, and his last 2 races at Monza and Singapore have been non-scorers. So he'll be looking to break that duck today.
It should be an interesting start to the race. I would definitely say being on the outside might be a little bit of an advantage to the pole position, as if he does get a good run, he can cut down to the inside or hold the outside and kind of get a better run out of the corner versus the guy on the inside. But I will let you take lap 1.
All right, wonderful. If Kai Wilde matches his podium performance from Singapore, he could shoot up as many as 3 places in the Drivers' Championship. We'll have to see. Can he keep his first place that he earned in qualifying, or will one of the challengers, I'm looking at Zach the Beast for that, will one of the challengers take the crown? 5 red lights. They're almost off. And now they're off. It looks like a good start from Kai Wilde. Actually, a very good start. Zach the Beast getting bogged down ever so slightly, and that's going to allow Butters to get his right front wheel alongside just barely. They're side by side going to turn 1. A little bit of a car on the grass there. I believe that was Bad Hunt House in the Red Bull. BRL Butters could take second round the outside here into turn 2. He's feeling brave. Ooh, not quite. He has to go off the track, and he does go off the track, and he overtakes him. That looks like an illegal overtake from BRL Butters. He's going to have to let him back pass through turn 4. Yes, he does. Now they can battle freely again. Shady stuff from Butters, but he has obeyed the rules of racing. And Mary Jane having an excellent start there. I believe up from P8 up to P4 already. Mike Swanson, Wavy, Books, Bad Hunt House, and Caesar rounding out the top 10. Caesar with a terrible start, upping about 4 positions there. Wavy and Books swapping places. Books getting very aggressive early tire. Look at what's going on with that battle. Ooh, Wavy right on the back of Books, riding on board with the clear. Books is being more aggressive, but he doesn't have the grip yet at this stage compared to the soft tire runners. Is Wavy going to go around the outside out of turn 10? Not quite, but he's got plenty of ERS to finish the job with. Maybe into turn 11. UFR Grand asking fastest lap. The fastest lap for pole position was 131.445 if you're just joining. The fastest lap in the race, well, we don't have one yet because the race just started. And it looks like, oh, there's a yellow flag in sector 3, and it's Caesar. Caesar is around. I'm not sure what happened there. He was down in the top 10. I believe he was right around Bad Hunt House at the time, as Kai Wilde sets an opening fastest lap. But Butters is not taking the lead. It's just a timing screen glitch. Kai is still your leader. It's just that the game has these timing sheet glitches sometimes, but that's some really bad luck for entered Caesar. It didn't look like he had any damage, and he hasn't come into the pits, so he'll just continue, but he's got a lot of ground to make up. He's got the pace to make it happen, but does he have the time? That is the question now. But Kai already stretching out to a comfortable gap out in front if this game will actually show the proper gaps and standings. I'm sure it'll refresh in just a minute. But Kai does still lead by Zach, and then Butters, Mary Jane, and Mike. Don't be fooled by the fraudulent timing screens. Just reminding you of that.
Yep, there goes it. So now everyone's back in their correct position as they were. Crazy battles to start off the race, and Caesar unfortunately looped it around on the inside of Gas Smoke and Hunt House. They're side by side, just a little bit too much throttle and found himself out and around.
Mary Jane getting our first track limits infringement of the day. 3-second time penalty for them. Bad Hunt House. It says he's only a tenth of a second behind Ron Swanson, but Ron Swanson looks very far up the road from him at the moment. Kai Wilde, meanwhile, he's pulled out a 1.1 second gap already to Zach the Beast behind. So when DRS gets enabled at the end of this lap, Zach is not going to have it, but Butters is going to have it on Zach for second place. So we could have a bit of a fight here on our hands, and if those two start fighting, it could give even more of an opportunity to Kai to break away here. How aggressive does he want to be in these opening laps on high fuel? The Beast sets a faster lap than Kai Wilde. DRS is enabled, but Zach couldn't summon enough there to get within DRS range. So they are going to have to wait now. Butters now falling back a bit from Zach the Beast.
Ron Swanson
just falling out of DRS range. Looks like he got a terrible run off at the final corner. What about Ron Swanson? Ron Swanson's getting attacked by MRL Mike. No, he's not. He just got Mike. Look at that. It's a swap for 5th place, and Books and Wabby are still going at it. Books goes around the outside right as we cut to him. Jeez, these two really have it out for each other. Already, only 2 laps into this race, and these two have swapped places more times than I can really remember. Of course, it's hard to remember when there's so much other action, but still quite a fun battle to watch, although Books is pulling away slightly now. Slingshot, meanwhile, trying to get after the other medium runner in this race, Gas Smoke, who's already made up 3 positions in the opening laps, again, despite the tire disadvantage. Ooh, but he locks up and goes wide. Gas Smoker might have just surrendered the position there to slingshot. No, not quite. He's able to cover it up going into 8 and 9, but it looks like he is struggling with his brakes at this stage.
He has left front wing
Again,
damage.
a lot of these drivers... Oh, he does. You're right. He's got the end plate missing. That's going to serious performance in all of these amazing fourth gear cookie cutter corners. Thanks, Herman Tilke. But anyway, Gas Smoker might want to pit early to fix that. He could go into the hard now and maybe stretch to the end, but at the same time, he's not that wounded. He can still at least fend off Slingshot for a sector or two. But there is a truly forming clearly, consisting of Gas Smoke and Slingshot. And Slingshot's up the inside now. Turn 12, not your average overtaking spot, but he's making it work on the wounded Red Bull.
As Books and Wade are back and battling again.
Yeah, Zach the Beast has DRS on Kai now, but he's too far back to do anything about it. And now Wavy has re-overtaken Books at point in the third sector, but Books now gaining on him again with DRS. It's going to be, they're side by side. Books is going to have the inside line. Is he going to stick it? Yes, it's the apex nicely. Slow to hold up Wavy. And it looks like he's gotten that position solidly, at least for the next sector. But yeah, this is definitely a battle to watch. The battle for P8 going overflow. Bad Hunt House seems to be in a bit of a world of his own right now. Extremely far away from Books, but not quite close enough to Mike to do anything about it. So we cut to Ron Swanson, who's reeling in Mary Jane. It looks like Ron Swanson might be the fastest car on track right now, with the possible exception of the leader, because he is really these top 5 guys. First it was Mike, who just fell victim to him. Nothing he could do at the start of lap 3, and now a lap later, Swanson is right on the back of Mary Jane in the AlphaTauri. Got to think this is a real good setup for a move on the pit straight. Wavy and Books swapping places again. Look at that. This time it's Wavy getting it done with DRS on the back straight. No, Books almost into the back of the Renault. But it looks like we've got a host migration. That can only mean one thing. Gas Smoking is disconnected, and quite a few people have actually disconnected. Actually, could you re-invite them, Wraith? Because I've got the swing, of course. Phantom saying, I should be in this tier. Nah, Phantom, you're special, okay? You can be in whatever tier you want. Tier 4 is perfect for you, in my personal opinion, but we'll keep out of this for now. Wavy ahead of Books, but again, Books is going to just come back at him so easily down the front straightaway. And Wavy needs to be building a gap right now on his softs to take advantage of the stint in the race where he has the tire advantage. But Books is just whittling that away for him. The longer Books can keep up with Wavy on harder tires, the easier he can pull away from Wavy when the rules are reversed later in the race. But it looks like that will be a static battle for the next sector or so, so we'll go back to Ron Swanson. Still right on the back of Mary Jane. Mary Jane going very wide off of turn number 6. Gap on average less than half a second at the moment. Will he be able to do something down the back straight? We're about to find out, riding on board with the McLaren of Ron Swanson. Oh, but Mary Jane was just closing up to Butters there. Mary Jane is just closing up to Butters to be able to get DRS. So that's going to save him for this straight as Gas Smoking gets a penalty for multiple warnings on the track limits. Again, strict corner cutting stringency is on, so you're going to be seeing that quite a bit throughout the race. Russia, not quite as hard on the track limits as some other infamous tracks like Canada, Austria, Monaco, etc., but still quite annoying in some places. Now as we go back to the legendary, amazing, mythic Books and Wavy battle, and it looks like Bad Hunt House might actually be dragged into this as well, or rather his ghosted shell. Yeah, Bad Hunt House, if he reconnects early enough, he could maybe rejoin just in time to get after the Mercedes and the Renault again that are trying to get an easy overtake on him right now. And Mary Jane has been overtaken by Ron Swanson. It looks like Swanson got the inside line into turn 2. Now Mary Jane has the inside line for turn 3. Is he going to try to break late into 4? No, he's going to stay where he is. He is not going to pull a Kimi Räikkönen for 2015, if anyone remembers that reference. You probably don't. It looks like Ron Swanson, for the time being, has taken 4th because he does have the superior pace at the moment, as Entered Caesar gets past the ghost of Bad Hunt House. Hopefully Bad Hunt will be back as soon as possible, but you really never know with F1 2020. Sometimes it just decides to be F1 2020 and not work properly. Right now it's working perfectly for Ron Swanson. He's not quite within DRS range of BRL Butters in 3rd, but Mary Jane could come back at the McLaren here. He's got maybe enough pace to do it. No, he's holding back, it looks like. So no more action for fourth. The next action on the track will be for third. Maybe even sooner than that, because entered Caesar, after his opening lap spin, has already recovered through the field to ninth now and is on the back of the Books and Wabby battle. So perhaps, although it's been a very entertaining battle to watch, and Books is gaining quite a bit from holding Wabby up so much, they're both losing time collectively to Caesar, and he's going to try moving to turn 12. No, that'll be too opportunistic, but he's into the back of him. Contact. Books half spun there, and it looked like Caesar was the root cause of it. I think that could be looked at by the stewards after the race. That was a very questionable way to get past a Mercedes. But hey, in the era of Mercedes dominance, who cares about violence against silver arrows? It's just a way of life in Reddit circles and league racing. But seriously, no, that'll definitely be looked at by the stewards after the race. You never want to collide with another car in order to pull up and overtake. That's simply illegal, and not something that we condone. However, is nice clean battling here between Caesar and Wavy. Caesar gaining all the time. He's been reeling in quite a bit of time. He's reeled in a 10th on this one flat-out corner alone. So it's fair to say he's going to have a really good opportunity on the back straight when the time comes. As Books now gets a time penalty for multiple warnings. So Wavy does have the advantage of fewer penalties at this stage, but how long will that advantage last? We've got 20 laps left in the race where he could make mistakes. And now this is the point where the soft runners are going to start thinking about tire wear as well. We had Sprightly predicted at the start that it's going to be everyone lap A onto mediums from the softs, unfailingly. But hey, who knows? Who really knows? Some of these guys could be going for a soft to hard strategy where they have more tire left at the end of the race. Maybe they're going to try and stretch it and go for fresher mediums at the end. As entered Caesar makes a very easy move there on Wabby. Very nice. Wabby could stay within striking distance here and potentially come back at him on the pit straight, but I really don't see it happening. This looks like the situation between Swanson and Mary Jane, where one just has a clear-cut advantage.
And Zach the Beast is on the backside of Wildly. He's about to make a pass.
Oh, you're right. It passed for the lead. How did we miss this? Look at that. After Kai Wildly's just been able to keep Zach the Beast in his DRS for a little while. Kai's coming back, though, around the outside on the exit of turn 2. He's going to keep trying, but Zach's going to have the inside for turn 4, and that is a huge advantage. Look at that. Kai was keeping Zach at arm's length pretty well for those first laps, but now, I guess on worn tires, Zach just has a bit more confidence. And he made that move look easy into turn 2 against a formidable opponent. But Kai, he's still right there. He's right on his rear bumper. He's going to be hampered by the dirty air through this middle sector, but if he can survive that, he'll have an excellent shot on the back straight. It's clear that this does not look like a Swanson and Mary Jane situation where one has a clear advantage as Kai Wildly runs a bit wide there. This is not one of those situations. These two appear to have equal or roughly equal pace at the moment. So we're going to see. Kai Wildly clearly has DRS. He's clearly close enough. Is he going to go for it, though? Is he actually going to go for the move? No, he's not. It looks like he's holding back a bit. So he's going to be very close into turn 12. No last-minute bonsai moves there. Ooh, big oversteer for Zach the Beast. It's clear that both of these guys are struggling with tire wear at the moment. So it might not be the weirdest sight in the world to see one of them dive off into the pits here. As BRL Butters has actually caught up to these guys slightly as they've been battling this lap. He's still well over 2 seconds behind them, so don't expect him to join the battle for another couple of laps, and even by then we'll have pit stops. We'll shake things up a bit. Checking Twitch chat, nothing new. We still got 13 viewers though. Oh, Babnas. I should have called you out earlier. Babnas, thank you for following the stream. Sorry it took 8 minutes to notice that. But we're very glad to have you on board. You're our 701st subscriber. Or sorry, not subscriber, follower. I got YouTube and Twitch mixed up yet again. I do that about 10 times a day. But welcome to the BRL family. We hope you'll join our Discord server if you haven't already. That's where we get all the cool word out about how to sign up for our leagues. If any of you are interested in joining BRL, as Bad Hunt House finally reconnects to the race, if any of you are interested in joining, then I would recommend hitting that Discord invite link. And I would also recommend not trying to get into a tier this season. We're already coming to a close. Of course, the Russian weekend, we're only going to have 5 more after this. So it's better to wait until the start of next season, which isn't too far out. Season 6 will certainly be coming, and it will certainly be on this game. Looks like Kai's falling back ever so slightly. Yeah, from Zach the Beast. He wasn't actually in DRS range there, and he's lagging all over the place. Looks like his connection has been pretty stable for most of the race, but now he's just lag teleporting quite a bit. Let's hope he doesn't disconnect because he's having an excellent race so far. Clearly on pace for at least a podium. Very solid podium at that. Second place, well ahead of third. As it looks like the gap between the top two and Butters has increased again, ever so slightly this lap. Meanwhile, Bad Hunt House is reconnected to the lobby right as It's Me Abby has found the opportunity to sneak up to his backside. Can he do anything into turn number 12? No, he's being very cautious. Oh, but Bad Hunt locks up. He forced a mistake. Going to be very close, but Abby being very, very cautious. Perhaps experimenting with traction control off. That can be a common cause of throttle phobia amongst drivers. But we'll come back to that battle once again pretty soon. But for now, the battle for P1 is inarguably the most important and far-reaching for the championship. Kai going pretty wide there. He's only just clinging on to DRS range now. It seems like Zach is just pulling something out that the Ferrari doesn't have at the moment. And Kai's struggling to cope. He is coping, but only by a little. He might come into the pits at the end of this lap, possibly, and try the undercut. That is very effective at this track, as one of our viewers pointed out at the top of the stream. But how effective? That's a question to be answered. Not yet, but pretty soon when the pit window opens. I thought the pit window was around lap 8 or 9, but surprisingly that is not the case. So these guys are stretching, all of them are stretching their soft tires 10 laps or more, except for Gas Smokin', who of course pitted for a new wing. Or was ghosted when he was disconnected, rather. Who's championship leader at the moment? All right, good. It is Zach. You're correct, Nidal Comet. You get points for knowing that. Zach is our championship leader at the moment. And both of them are coming into the pits now. End of lap 10. So it's going to be up to the pit crews to turn these guys around as quickly as possible. Neither of them getting pit lane speeding penalties. Kai's box is going to come up a lot sooner. So we'll have a longer run to the exit. Zach's going to have to wait a really long time before he actually gets into his box, but then the exit's right in front of it. So we'll see which one turns out to be the better one. Oh, Kai just releasing in front of Ron Swanson. That's a risky move. Butters is staying out for another lap, as is his teammate, Emerald Mike, so I'm not sure what their game is, but Zach the Beast, Kai Wildy, Ron Swanson, Mary Jane, all onto the medium tires. I assume Slingshot, Wavy, and Caesar will do the same. But no changes in the pit lane. Looks like Kai is still behind Zach, and the gap is about the same that it was before. And they rejoin in 4th and 5th place, just behind Books, Mike, and Butters. Well, just behind Books. Mike and Butters are pretty far up the road from these three. But how will Books respond to the imminent pressure from Zach the Beast? Is he going to just let him by at the earliest opportunity, or try to fight it to make him lose time? We'll have to see. At this stage, I would say on Books' worn tires, it's probably the smarter decision to just let him through. Let him through, lose as little time as possible, fussing over it. Of course, the medium runners are always going to go long into this race because that's part of the strategy, but I'm surprised the two Haas's have stayed out an extra lap. Considering just how powerful the undercut is here, this could ruin Butters' chance to challenge the top two later in the race. He will have slightly fresher tires. I suppose that is one positive. Of course, in real life F1, getting your tires up to temperature after a pit stop is a huge concern. Here, it's pretty much non-existent. You need to spend a little bit of time on the hard tire to get your boots in the window, but for softs and mediums, it's really no problem.
What the Haas guys could have also been relying on is Books holding up Zach the Beast enough to where they can get in, get pitted, and get out.
Ooh, this is a risky double stack, Wraith. Hold on a minute. The F1 game is very weird when it comes to double stacks. The pit crew doesn't always recover the best from that last stop. Oh, yes, they are. Ooh, they still waited a bit before changing the tires. I think he did lose a tiny bit of time because of he came in behind his teammate. Hey, that's how it works. During the pit stop phase, the guy who's ahead of his teammate gets priority on strategy. If you've got more pace, you deserve priority. Simple as that. Anyway, Mike rejoins in 7th place. Butters rejoins in 4th behind Books, who's yet to pit, so he is still in a net P3. Books has been passed in quick succession by Zach the Beast and Kai Wiley since we last checked out this little group. So the Mercedes losing as little time as possible in battles. Very smart move from him, I would say. And Books' tires won't actually be that worn at this stage. Again, Sochi being a very low-wear track. He started on the medium, so he won't be hurting nearly as much as the soft runners were before they pitted.
correct. All of the soft partners have pretty much transferred over to the medium tire, besides Gasmoken, who's still currently pouncing around in 10th place. Look for him to probably be pitting here soon, but I think he's just trying to get everything out of those softs.
Yeah, he did pit a bit late for them because of his front wing damage, so maybe trying to change up the strategy a little bit, go on to much fresher mediums towards the end. Of course, Butters staying out an extra lap. That's going to give him 1 lap fresher mediums, but that doesn't really matter around such a low wear track. That is a negligible amount of wear that 1 lap gives. But something like 5 laps, like Gasmoken could pull off, that's significant. That's going to give him a real performance advantage that could keep his challenge for points alive later on. Mary Jane now getting a time penalty for multiple warnings. That's not the first time Mary Jane has gotten one of those. Let's check the penalties real quick. Pretty clean so far. Some people don't have penalties at all, most notably the top 2, as well as Ron Swanson. And actually, speaking of Ron Swanson, we were talking about how he was catching up to BRL Butters before the pit stops, and now he's gotten ahead of BRL Butters. He's into a net podium position. And that is huge. Ron Swanson coming off a podium at Singapore. That one was also a 3rd place. Looking for what will be his 7th podium of the season. He's one of the 8 drivers that's been around since the start of the season, and he really is showing his worth. Maybe not quite promotion to Tier 4 levels of performance from Swanson this season, but he's still showing plenty of pace and plenty of progress as he's fending off challenges from... Ooh, Butters is very close, but he's suffering from the dirty air. You saw how squirrely he got out of turn 7. And through 8 and 9, ooh, Butters taking a very wide line using all the track. Swanson being a bit more cautious. But Butters is going to get DRS here. He's going to get the chance to fight back at the McLaren. Is he going to take it? That is the question. We've seen some other people here who've just been overtaken and trick him out of it, but no, Butters is going right past Ron Swanson, given the chance. He did tap the wall a bit there, but I don't think it'll be enough to... Oh, there's contact. Right now, I was about to say that contact wasn't enough to really give him damage. He goes out and makes contact. That's enough to give him damage. So, let's see just what he's got. Looks like a missing left side end plate. And that's going to seriously impact his performance. So forget about a battle on our hands for the podium position, because Butters has kind of thrown away his race with that. You got to think. Mary Jane is a reasonable amount of time behind, but it shouldn't take him too long to catch up if Butters' car is wounded like this. What's your take on that one, Wraith? Did you see the collision between Swanson and Butters? All right, Wraith's mic seems to be having issues again, so just going to keep the commentary. Butters still right behind Ron Swanson, but look at how much the car washes out middle at turn 4. Really is a very graphic example of what's going on in that car. As Gasmoken gets a 5-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane. What have you done? That's Bed Hunt House, not Gasmoken. What have you done, Gasmoken? You sped into the pit lane. That's what you've done. There's a set of soft tires from the looks of it. Gasmoken's race is really falling apart here. Got that penalty now, which is going to seriously blunt his chances at any sort of late charge for points. Doesn't he know he has to use multiple tire compounds during the race? He's pitted from soft to soft to soft so far. No, wait, no. What am I saying? He did start on the mediums. That's where he got the damage. So this could actually be a great play from Gasmoken. But you got to wonder, will those tires last to the end? He's going to have to stretch them out if he wants 13 laps of decent performance out of them. 10 laps, 11 laps, that's one thing. 13 is really pushing the softs to their limit at this track. So it'll be interesting to see how his car handles later on in the race, and I don't really get that I don't really think he can charge his way through at this point. He's too far behind, and he's got more penalties than the cars ahead. Avi doesn't have anything at the moment. Slingshot has less. Bad Hunt has less. It's not looking too good right now for our lovely Tier 5 coordinator, and he appears to be losing 7th place to Entered Caesar in the Drivers' Championship at the moment. Speaking of Caesar, he set the fastest lap of the race on the medium tire. That's a 1:35.5, and he's pulling right up to the back of Mary Jane in the AlphaTauri. This is a bit unexpected. There wasn't too much action in this corner a couple of laps ago, but now look at this. Caesar's going to try it up the inside of turn 4, and it looks like it's going to work. Yes, it is. Mary Jane once again getting passed by someone in that flat-out left-hander. And Caesar is up into 5th place. The more points, the better. As Books has actually just pitted. The only traditional medium strategy runner left has just pitted, and I think that's a bit early. Again, you need to get 17 laps out of the mediums to do a proper mirrored alternate strategy. And he hasn't done that, so he's going to have that disadvantage at the end of the race. And Wraith has just given me confirmation now that his headset has died. So, unfortunately, we will be missing Wraith for a few minutes.
Back.
Oh, wonderful. Yeah, I did notice your post was from 4 minutes ago, so that's cool. But anyway, looks like Mary Jane is getting gapped fairly quickly by Andrew Caesar. Caesar is already braking at the DRS with the AlphaTauri, so I don't think that battle is going to go on for much longer. Now the race is really calming down. Entering that mid-phase where everyone's just focused on tire management, and the gaps right now between cars, not very big. I suppose, and we should just keep riding on board with Andrew Caesar for a bit, because he is going to catch right into the back of BRL Butters with that front wing damage. That'd be my guess. Not sure if he can get to Ron Swanson in time, but Butters looks to be easy praise. 4.2 seconds behind him at the moment, and that wing damage has got to be worth at least, at the very minimum, half a second a lap.
There's a good train forming right behind Caesar as well, with Mary Jane and Mike slowly closing in on him as well. So this could easily become a 3-way to 4-way battle for 4th place. Butters could easily get swallowed up.
No, Caesar's the one with the momentum at the moment. He's already pulled out a 2-second gap to Mary Jane after overtaking them in the last lap. So I don't think we'll be seeing that, but we could see MRL Mike, actually. Hold on a minute. Let's take a look at Mike. He's closing the gap down to Mary Jane. I got to say, the gap was 2.3 seconds, I believe, when Zach the Beast last came across the line. Now it is down to 1.7, 1.6, as Butters gets a time penalty for warnings, no doubt due to the understeer of that wing damage. But Mike could have a shot at P6 here, although Books is going to be an unknown quantity that he will have to take into consideration, because Books on those soft tires is going to be an absolute beast for the next 7 or 8 laps. I suspect he'll reel in Wavy pretty quickly, and then maybe be able to close the gap to Mike, but it's a pretty big gap. 11.7 seconds currently separate 7th from 8th. So it'll be a big river to go across, certainly. As WG Plays TV has now followed us. Wonderful. The BRL Empire expands evermore. So we now have 702 followers on the stream. That's the number that I've always wanted to be associated with the Twitch channel. 702. What a special number. But anyway, we continue to monitor the progress of MRL Mike. He's gained another couple of tenths this lap on Mary Jane. Still not, that's going to be the crucial thing here. 1 second is the barrier that he needs, but one thing we should point out is that Mary Jane has a lot more ERS right now. He's got about 60% of his tank, and Mike's running on fumes in the battery compartment right now, only 10%, hovering around there. And of course, once that battery gets under 10%, it's going to give reduced output. So I think that is blunting his charge a bit as he gets ever closer to the AlphaTauri. Meanwhile, further back, there's another gap that's fallen within a second, and it's Books and Wabby. Of course, these two battled so hard in the first stint, but it's going to come back to bite Wabby now. He couldn't gap Books in the first stint when he had the tire advantage. Now Books has it, and he's going to very much use it to take 8th place away from his compatriot. As Gas Smoking now sets the fastest lap of the race from the back of the field, taking it off of Caesar, who held it earlier. So if Gas Smoking finishes the race, then finishes the race with that fastest lap, then no points will be awarded for the fastest lap, because of course you have to be in the top 10 when you finish to be awarded the bonus point for that distinction.
Looks like he is in the top 10, so he would come out of here with at least 2 points on the day instead of none. So
no, we're talking about Gas Smoking, not Bad Hunt.
Oh, I thought it was Bad Hunt. I just said my bad.
No, it was Gas. Yeah, Gas Smoke is the one of the softest. There's a big move possibly coming. No, there's contact between Wabby and Books. It looks like Books made a half move there coming into the braking zone for turn 11. And it just has not worked out. But he has gotten past the Renault at the very least. I don't know if he has some minor non-visual wing damage from that, because that is a thing in this game for some reason. And there's a yellow flag, and Wabby spun. Wabby is spun in the background of that shot that I was already in. And it looks like he hasn't taken the fact that he's been overtaken very well.
Oh, and Caesar and Butters are having their little battle. Caesar cutting it underneath. Basically the.
Oh, you're right. Butters is. Oh, they made contact, and they're both on the wall. What happened there? It looked like Butters had the inside line for turn 4. Or turn 5. Sorry, he just tried to come back. I guess I don't know. I didn't see much. I didn't see enough of that one. It went by too fast.
Caesar was on the very outside. It looks like Butters just kind of washed up a little bit. Caesar got loose on the curb, contact underneath, and Caesar just got up into the wall. He just turned out worse on that snenario, but now we have the battle between Mary Jane and Butters.
And considering that gap between him and 10th place, he's going to fall out of the points here. He's going to lose 10th place. everything down to 10th. I think everyone except Gas Smoke and Anabi. Meanwhile, MRL Mike and Mary Jane, as I predicted now on this lap. Ooh, the Haas right at the gearbox of the AlphaTauri there. That camera angle really scared me as to what might happen next. The one with the momentum at this point, he's closed up by varying rates to just a couple of tenths in the last 4 or 5 laps. So it'll be interesting to see how quickly he can get past Mary Jane and how much of a fight the AlphaTauri will actually put up. Brig Trev is our third follower of the night. Brig Trev, thank you very much for following the stream and supporting DRL. We appreciate every little bit. And is Mike going to be close enough to try and move into turn 2? It doesn't look like it as Wabby gets a time penalty. Yeah, he's going to bide his time here. Mike knows he has time to pull off this move. So once you get past Mary Jane, there's not much else he can do. Because but I'm reading the time graphics wrong. Butters is actually right just ahead of this group, so it's going to become a 3-way battle for 4th here. The 3 podium positions are looking more and more sealed, with Sakai followed by Swanson, barring any mistakes from them. But the battle for 4th is just getting exciting with an AlphaTauri, the meat in a Haas sandwich. And as Gunther Steiner would say, don't folk smash my sandwich. Totally real line from the Haas team principal in real life. Yeah, Butters is clearly going to be the disadvantaged one here with that front wing damage. He hasn't pitted to replace it, but he knows that'll just lose him more time than toughing it out. But it's still a huge inconvenience for him. Mary by the move into turn 11, maybe. Ooh, Butters goes just defensive enough to scare off Mary Jane into turn 11. Some very good defensive driving there from Butters. Where to place his car, how to best take advantage of the remaining grip and downforce that it still has. Mary Jane, though, look at that, crawling all over the back of Butters. The difference is uncanny. Meanwhile, further back, Bad Hunt House has gotten past Wabby for 8th place, so Bad Hunt certainly benefiting from the chaos around him with Caesar's crash and Wabby's spin. And he's now up to P8, although the next car ahead is Books, who's on better tires, so I don't think he'll be progressing any further. And Mary Jane has lost a lot of momentum. Butters going super wide for some reason, but Mike getting the time penalty there for another infringement. But yeah, Mary Jane, he couldn't get that run off of the right run. I suppose to run into turn 11 that they needed to get past Butters, and that's cost them a lot of momentum. And I think he's going to be the one on the back foot now. Mike is going to be the next one to attempt an overtake, I'd say.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a quick little battle between these 3. Butters really trying to life while you have
Mary Jane goes wide. As if Mike didn't need any more incentive. These two really nose to tail now. We're going to ride on board with MRL Mike just to show you how close quarters it is. Mary Jane going wide again. And seeming to have trouble with track extending quite a lot, and that explains the numerous 3-second time penalties in this race so far. Let's check penalties actually for this battle. 3 seconds with penalties for Mike, 6 seconds for Mary Jane, and 9 for Butters. So actually, they are already in the net positions that they're going to be in pretty soon on track. 4th, 5th, and 6th, effectively. But there you go. Butters has been double overtaken into turn 11 by Mary Jane and his teammate Mike. So I don't think he'll be putting out much of a fight after that. But the battle between Mike and Mary, it'll continue at just higher stakes now. 4th place instead of 5th. And we're going to monitor this one with great interest and attention. Meanwhile, further back, looks like Wabby is staying on the back of Bad Hunt House, but only just barely keeping within DRS range. We'll have to see how much momentum he can conjure up to get that 8th place back. Mike, meanwhile, so close to the back of Mary Jane into turn 2. It really is scary to watch. But everything's still keeping very clean, unlike the battle between Butters and Caesar earlier. Caesar looks like he's still going to snag some points here. He's clearly much faster than Slingshot on fresher tires. But beyond that, I don't think he can hope for much. Wabby's just too far up the road. So this is the best battle on track right now. MRL Mike and Mary Jane. He's trying, though. Caesar's trying to get back in the points. Fastest lap of the race. He gained over 2 seconds on Slingshot in that lap alone. And it's an excellent, absolutely excellent display from him. He seems to have the best raw race pace today out of anyone, other than maybe Ron Swanson. But he's been a bit less impressive on the mediums than he was on the softs, as far as I can tell. MRL Mike just not getting enough of an exit off of turn 10 to have a proper go at Mary Jane into number 11. And there's still nose to tail in the same order in the braking zone. Who would have guessed? This is Salchi. But anyway, it looks like there could still be a move in the cards on the pit straight, especially as Mary Jane track extending again there in a place where you really don't want to deviate from the one racing line. That undulating turns 13 and 14 complex. MRL Mike really so on the back of the AlphaTauri, but he can't get the momentum that he needs. Every time Mary Jane makes a mistake, Mike gets too close in the dirty air, and every time Mike makes a mistake, Mary Jane just pulls away and is suddenly safe for a lap. And again, he's not going to get close enough. He's just not getting the crucial runs off the DRS corner that he needs to. Turn 10 and turn number... I don't even know what the final corner is called, but it is the final corner. Both of those turns he's having quite a bit of difficulty with. Very clearly. He might try to have he might try to pressure a mistake from Mary Jane in the twistier bits of the track and maybe overtake in an unconventional spot as someone just set a fastest lap and it blipped right over it. But I'm guessing it's Caesar because now he's gained 4 more seconds on Slingshot in like no time at all. And yeah, confirmation on the right of your screen that he has gotten the fastest lap. And he's going to go around the outside of Slingshot into turn 1 for the final, or turn 2 rather, for the final points paying position. He's got more penalties than Slingshot, but considering how quickly he ranged up to the back of the racing point, I've got to guess that he's going to have no problem pulling out a 3-second gap to offset those pens. Gas Smoking getting another time penalty. What is it with him and penalties today? It's really just not working out for him at all this race. Penalties, he's up to 26 seconds. Normally, when you get 30 seconds worth of penalties, that is a disqualification by the game. So now he's really got to tread carefully for the last 5 laps or so. Although it will actually be fewer than 5 laps for Gas Smoking because he is lapped at this point, so he probably won't complete all 27 of the circuits. And I'd count him lucky, honestly, considering how terrible this track is. But regardless, let's continue to monitor the battle between... Oh, Butters is going into the pit lane now. He can't tolerate the front wing damage anymore. Mike's diving in too. What have we here? The medium tire is not lasting as long as some people expected, apparently. And both the Haas's are into the pit lane. Oh, but Butters... Oh, there's been an incident. The 2 Haas's have collided somewhere because Butters has no front wing anymore. And they're clearly doing a wing change on Mike as well. I'm not sure what happened there. That might be another inquiry for the stewards to look at later.
They both may have been trying to dive into the pits at the same time, may have just collided on one another, both of them trying to go for the same real estate, and unfortunately just cost them more time.
Wow, that's unfortunate. Entered Caesar, he's going to gain even more positions because of this. Up to 8th now for him, so more good luck in the late race for Alfa Romeo. And Butters is going to rejoin 9 seconds behind Slingshot. Can he do the same thing that Caesar did and just summon the raw pace to range up to the back of him? We'll have to see. Slingshot could choose a few more points. Slingshot has a pretty big tendency to finish in the lower reaches of the points. Between 6th and 10th seems to be his comfort zone in this league. He is one of the 8 drivers that's been around since the start of the season. So he has gotten plenty of chances to get points and has seized most of them. But entered Caesar and Mike. This is going to be an interesting battle because they're both on soft tires. Caesar's is slightly older. Mike has track position, but Caesar has more raw pace. But Caesar has front wing damage. Wait a minute. I don't even know how that could have happened. Somewhere, Caesar must have made a mistake. Maybe he just collided with the back of Mike trying to overtake him out of the pit lane. I'm not sure, but looks like entered Caesar's charge here could be blunted by the fact that he has that damage. Retain his 9th place, but can't imagine he'll progress much further up the board with that kind of damage to his car. We'll check back in on this battle soon, but first off, let's check in on another battle. Oh wait, there aren't any other battles right now. So never mind on that, we're going to check penalties. Looks like, yeah, Bad Hunthouse and Wabby, that could be an interesting one, because Bad Hunthouse, he has 3 seconds more penalties than Wabby right now. As soon as Entered Caesar tries a move on turn 2, round the outside, is it going to work? No, he goes off the track. I think he's going to have to surrender the position again there, but he's not doing it. I don't know what the game's told him to do, but I don't think it's given him an illegal overtake monitor. Oh! That's a collision between Mike and Caesar. This time it's Mike running into the back of the Alfa Romeo. And he's lost his front wing now as well, so it's an even fight again between these two. And I think that's going to give Caesar the edge, because he has shown consistently good raw pace, probably the best raw pace in this race. So I'm sure he'll be able to pull away from the Haas on equal terms, now that is what this battle is. So a little more hope for Caesar, but with the damage, will he be able to pull out a 3-second gap to Emerald Mike? That's the big question in that battle. Not on track stuff, but penalty stuff, because that's, of course, much more exciting.
What will be possibly the next battle to uncover will be either between Books and Mary Jane or Bad Hunt House and Wavy. Both of them have been closing in tremendously on one another.
Well, right now, Wavy's in a position to beat Bad Hunt House on penalties anyway, so I don't think he needs to do too much other than just stay within that window. As for Books, I don't know. His tires are getting to that point where they're going to really start to fall off and wear almost as much as the medium tires. Or does his boots have enough left in the tank to really attack the Alpha Tauri in the way that he'd want to?
Well, I think he does have just enough to really put it in there in a good sense, because he's been catching him pretty rapidly these past few laps. Even if his tires are going down, he is still catching, which is going to help him out in the long run. He just needs to be within that 1 second for DRS, and that's all he's. With 3 laps to go, I think that's more than capable.
I'm not sure. 3 laps might be a bit of a slim window for him. That kind of tire wear. But Zach the Beast is coming around the final corner now to start the penultimate lap. He's pulled up quite a gap to Kai Wildy, just slowly but surely in the second stint. A gap that is now up to 4.6 seconds. What a performance from the champion. This really shows why he leads the championship. He gets upset and qualify. He has the pure raw pace to smash anyone who gets in his way. As Caesar gets another time penalty, that could give Mike 8th place again. Because now looking at the penalty situation, Caesar has 6 seconds more penalties than Mike. So it looks like it could very much be the case that Mike can just stay within a very generous 6-second window, which he'll easily do considering he's only 1.7 behind now.
And Books is within 1 second of Mary Jane coming to the front stretch. He's within DRS zone. He's an overtake. Now having to slide on. No, I don't.
Would you look at that? He's got no ERS to work with, though. Look at that. No battery. Mary Jane's done a very good job of saving their ERS this race to defend with. And not quite as much as their last major battle. They have about 30%, but that's still a lot more than Books has at the moment. Books has been pushing like crazy to get up to the back of the AlphaTauri. What's the penalty situation for these two? Books has more penalties than Mary Jane, and I don't think he's going to have enough time to pull out a 3-second gap, so this battle's already done. Oh, Butters with the fastest lap. Look at that, and hold on, Butters is within DRS range now of Slingshot. Could we have another change for the final points paying position? Ooh, down the front stretch, he looks a bit distant right now from the racing point. Up a lot into turn 2, but it's not going to be enough. Could he try a daring move in the inside of turn 4? Ooh, ghosting into him slightly. There might be a bit of lag. Slingshot positioning his car turn 5. Butters taking a tighter line and getting a penalty for it. And, Butters has way more penalties than Slingshot, so this battle is already over. Important to note, plenty of battles here that are begun on track. All because of strict corner cutting rules combined with somewhat inexperienced racers. But look at that, they're still racing wheel to wheel. Butters gets pushed all the way over to the tire wall and he promptly lags quite a bit. Look at that. But now we are on the final lap, so it does count as last lap shenanigans at Russia. Butters getting very close to there, and he's going to go for it, send it into turn 12.
Mary Jane has picked up a 3-second time penalty, so now they're even. So this is a battle.
You're right. This is very much a battle. Marginally now.